Hello there, please like and subscribe to our channel. My name is Susie and I grew up in a terrible situations due to the fact that my mother turned into mentally ill. She frequently made me steal stuff from stores due to the fact no person suspected a little woman like me to be a thief. Of course, I was terrified of being stuck, however my mother gave me no preference. However, one night she drank too much and fell down the stairs unexpectedly. She couldn't walk anymore and I had to take care of her, even though I was 11. We quickly ran out of food and I stated, "Mommy, the refrigerator is empty, and I am hungry." She replied, "Forestall complaining, instead catch a few cockroaches, so he can eat them." Turned into she severe. I used to be petrified of those disgusting little bugs, however I nevertheless trapped. Considered one of them, and confirmed it to my mother. She advised me to cook dinner. However, we handiest had a toaster, so I killed it and put it in there. After I'd given it to my mom to eat, I stuck many extra roaches and even ate my very first small infant cockroach. It tasted okay, so I commenced to capture hundreds of them and became the company of my circle of relatives. However, then the toaster broke and we needed to consume them uncooked. Of path, they were extraordinarily dirty, so we frequently were given unwell. However, at the least we had a full belly. I continued residing like this for weeks until people from the authorities got here into our condominium and took me far away from my mom. Despite the fact that I screamed and wanted to live together with her, I used to be added into a children's home where people defined to me that my mother changed into mentally unwell, but nobody wanted to tell me in which she became or who become taking care of her. I felt deserted and scared, but there was one thing that made me sense secure, and that changed into ingesting roaches. So on every occasion I noticed one, I picked it up and placed it into a toaster and ate it. The taste gave me a sense of consolation as it jogged my memory of my mom. I commenced consuming so many of them that I were given salmonella contamination and had to go to the health center. When I informed the doctor that I was addicted to eating cockroaches, he introduced me to a psychologist who instructed me that there has been not anything incorrect approximately eating roaches as long as they were easy. He convinced me to begin farming roaches, and that turned out to be plenty easier than I had conceived. All I needed changed into a field of roaches and some end result to feed them. After a few months I had more than 1,000 of them. However, I made a big mistake and allowed them roam around my room freely, because one infant roach crawled through my nose and into my brain. While I was asleep, I didn't recognize what turned into occurring most effective, that my nose harm. I kept it untreated for several days till I visited a physician who saw something shifting way up my nostril. It took several hours to pull the cockroach out. However, from then I constantly kept them locked in my field. However, I had bigger issues. I had no friends or circle of relatives and I was feeling extraordinarily lonely. It really is why I started out binge eating cockroaches. I in all likelihood won 10 kilograms in 3 months, and that I knew I needed to change my existence or my roach addiction would kill me. I nonetheless don't forget my last roach. It became a small infant, perhaps 1 centimeters big. I ate it raw and alive. Then I brushed my teeth and said by no means once more in a while. I needed in training to get beforehand in existence, so I taught myself writing and reading with the aid of spending most of my days on the library. 6 months later I enrolled myself in university. There I moved into a dorm. However, the different women did not like me. They said I smelled bad and lived like a pig. I guess they have been proper. My mom had never taught me to clean up something, and now I needed to learn how to bathe every day and wash my hands whilst I were given domestic, but due to the fact no person appreciated me, I had plenty of time to observe and it contemplated via my grades. One rainy afternoon, even as on the library, I ran into a guy. He changed into dressed in all black and apologized. I should tell he changed into one of a kind similar to me. I asked, "What are you reading right here?" And he spoke back, "I am analyzing philosophy." We sat down at a cafe and talked for hours. He turned into similar to me. He said his own family had raised him on a farm, but ordinarily unnoticed him. He said they did not speak an unmarried word with him from age 11 to 16. His simplest buddies had been books till he ran away and found a job as a creative worker, but his love for reading introduced him to a college similar to it did for me. I had a peculiar feeling while I looked at him. I cannot describe it, however it felt correct, and 1 week later we had our first date. We were lying subsequent to every other on the grass whilst he laid his hand on my stomach. Of path, I was anxious. I had never had a guy contact me. I failed to understand what to do, but then he simply kissed me. It was the maximum extreme feeling I've ever had, and I were given so aroused that I bit into his lip. He stated ouch and went back on his again. I apologized and noticed that he became bleeding. Gosh, what Had I done? I used to be so stupid. I said I am so sorry. I have by no means kissed a guy earlier than it is. K, don't worry, I simply did not realize you like it that manner. What do you suggest? By using that way you like it difficult? It's K, no I do not suppose. So he went back on pinnacle of me and lightly choked me. Do you want this? I could not communicate, so I just nodded. I cherished the way he performed with me. It changed into the primary time I felt simply drawn to a guy. Later on we became a pair and spent all our time collectively. I cherished sitting next to him within the library, so I ought to watch him study books he constantly regarded so handsome. But one day he changed into simply gone. He failed to reply to my textual content, and his dorm mate said he had disappeared without announcing something. Of course, I used to be concerned perhaps something had came about to him, so I referred to as up all of the hospitals, but he wasn't there. Perhaps he had left because of me. Maybe he failed to love me anymore. I suddenly remembered my mom. For years I had averted considering her, however now it all came returned. Especially the guilt that I had not looked after her. I stayed inside my mattress for days crying my coronary heart out until I determined I needed to locate her. Perhaps she became nonetheless alive, so I went to the police and asked them to discover wherein they delivered my mom 10 years in the past. It took them 2 weeks to determine out, but the news wasn't properly. My mom had died quickly after we have been separated. I can't describe how tough the news hit me. I used to be really devastated. I knew I was close to giving up and asked myself, is my life well worth living? The solution turned into no, it is now not, but I knew it could turn out to be well worth dwelling if I were given a pleasant process, observed a husband, and had youngsters at some point. Yes, that could be an existence worth residing, and that is what I'm operating toward right now. One morning, whilst I went to check my Facebook feed, I realized all my male pals have been lacking from my pals list, which includes my cousins, my uncles, or even my dad. I'd given my boyfriend Frank my Facebook login so he could add some snapshots for me. However, I did not think he could mess with my account. When I asked him if he knew about it, he said, oh, you notice they're long gone, so that you are being attentive to different eyes. I knew it. What the hell? Frank had deleted all my male pals. Searching again, I should have left him then. However, I figured it changed into just a stupid funny story, but his conduct only were given worse. I used to be working at an advertising and marketing business enterprise, and I would take breaks with my co-people to vape out of doors. We communicate about our diverse projects and make crucial decisions at some point of the one's breaks. Nicely, someday I got domestic from paintings and Frank faced me, announcing, I noticed you placing out with different men at work today. Wow. He had stalked me in my place of job, looking me when he need to be doing his very own task. Matters had been getting creepy. I informed him he didn't need to be jealous due to the fact I wasn't interested by any of my colleagues like that. However, he were given absolutely angry and punched the wall. I was afraid he could hit me next, so I told him I wouldn't do it anymore. Big mistake. After that, he desired increasingly manage over me, like he would not let me put on positive clothes like shorts or tight shirts, after which he stopped me from speaking to any of my male buddies, inclusive of Steve, who is homosexual. Each day I were given back from paintings he might ask to undergo my telephone. Before everything, I would not let him. I suggest anyone merits a few privateness proper, and there have been text conversations with my buddies where we mentioned matters I failed to need Frank to know about, but if I did not do what he wanted, he'd scream at me for hours and begin trashing our apartment. It was so emotionally draining. In the end, I gave in and allow him test my cell phone. However, I started out deleting my textual content conversations earlier than I got here home, so he could not see anything. It turned into horrible. I guess if he may want to, he would have locked me inside the residence and now not allow me pass everywhere without him. It took some time, but at remaining I realized matters could not pass on like that, and that I broke up with him. For the first few weeks he stalked me, and sooner or later he even climbed up my mother and father house to look through our toilet to observe me take a shower. After that, I were given a restraining order from him, which means that he is not allowed to get close to me or contact me in any manner, or he's going to visit jail. However, that became years in the past, and Frank still sends me messages for nameless telephones. I don't want to exchange my number because it'd feel like I am letting him win. However, every time I see a textual content from him, it stresses me out. His ultimate one became actually weird. I were given another lady pregnant, and it's all of your fault. See how crazy he is. How should that be my fault? I wish he would just leave me alone. I don't understand why he is looking to make my existence miserable, but fortunately I'm relationship Nick now, and our courting is a lot more healthy. He respects my limitations and we trust each different. I feel comfy with him. Certain Nick may be a piece possessive on occasion, but so am I able to. There may be nothing incorrect to approximately being a little possessive. It's most effective verbal. However, whilst you try to manage a person's whole lifestyles, you have a few troubles, and perhaps you have to get assist. I have executed a few research. And it's scary how many guys truly killed their girlfriends due to the fact they had been jealous of them just speaking to every other man. It's insane. So, although I am not an expert therapist, my advice would be to stay away from anyone who tries to absolutely control your existence. Those humans are evil and most effective care about what they are able to get out of you. They do not care about your happiness in any respect. Please be careful. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and press the notification bell.